we work in changing your brain to change your life. Everything from conscious relationships to relationship with self to cultivating self-love to talking about all the things that you probably never thought about. And here we are.
Maybe you have.
Maybe you have and you don't have an answer.
If you want to know more, you can always comment below. Check us out. Become part of our community. Binge all of our content. You'll learn lots. We guarantee it. And let us know what you think or if you have any questions. And we're happy that you're here. If you're new, welcome. If you're new and or old, thank you for being here. We appreciate your guys' continued interest and listening to us and showing up and doing the work, because that's really all we can ask in today's world, is that you show up and want to change, and that essentially when you change everything around you. So today we're going to harp again on hookup culture, because this is one of our favorite subjects, because it is literally what is wrong with the world. But anyway, today we're going to go into the scientific research around it. So you can't even argue, or argue less with this. So I'll let Nicole get into this, because this was her subject that she picked.
We've had a lot of conversations about this, because we weren't really a part of it, in college and post-college. We really didn't have app culture, the dating app culture. We still went to the bars, and we still had to go out, or we met through friends. It was a lot different. I know when we got a little bit older, but it wasn't really in our core college 20s that we had apps.
Okay, just because we weren't part of hookup culture, all of the girls that I knew in college were freaking crazy.
Okay, but I'm talking about just apps, and then the actual whole thing that's happening right now, because I think when we were in college it was bad, but now it's so bad because you can swipe right and fuck. At least in college, when we were in college, there wasn't swiping right and you literally didn't get a dick at your door.
No, you just went and got drunk at a party, and
at least you still had to go out, and he still had to approach you.
I mean, fair enough. But hookup culture is hookup culture. Just because it's gotten worse
it's just changed the way it looks. But we weren't really ever a part of hookup culture, mainly because I can speak for myself. I never thought I was pretty, or there was a lot of self-esteem issues. I was literally thought that my only worthiness was how good I could perform on a sports field, and then that was pretty much it. How athletic I could be was based on if I could compete with a man, I could run faster than him or whatever. That was what my self-worth was. And I know you struggled with your own self-love and worthiness at some point or another.
Well, I just had a severe eating disorder, so I didn't really want anybody touching me or around me, because I didn't feel worthy of anything. So I never had sex with anybody in high school or in college, which is crazy. That's its own form of issue.
That's a severe avoidant.
Yeah, I was nobody talked to me. But I was totally disassociated from relationships, because I didn't even...
Well, Meg was the avoidant, and I was the codependent, anxious attachment.
Yeah, I didn't date.
I was so insecure. But I always had serious boyfriends. It wasn't ever...
And I was just always single.
Yeah, it was a thing. I was a serial monogamous. I
had some
serious
in a relationship.
I had some serious issues, going back. So I guess we, literally couldn't be a part of hookup culture, because I was always in a relationship, and you were always so severely avoidant, it worked out.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think back on. But, so when we started talking about this, and Megan and I brought this topic up the other day, because, it's happening more and more, especially clients and people that are talking to us about oh, okay, well, what's the psychology behind hookup culture? What is actually happening? And so the American Psychology Association actually did a whole research study on this. And when we came across this study and we were reading it, it was actually really fascinating, because it's really based on a 90-day period. So it's this first beautiful 90 days, which is really funny, because that's a honeymoon stage in a relationship. It's the first 90 days. Everything is rainbows and butterflies. Everything is la la, I'm so high on life. Nothing phases you, right? And then in this research, they started to actually realize that in this, men are from Mars, women are from Venus. There's this breakdown of women after 90 days start to feel hurt, used, and abused. And men feel guilty. Well, makes sense because you're literally using each other without negotiation. And if you want to go back, we talked about this a little bit in our past podcast about how to negotiate before a relationship starts so that you're able to actually build proper foundation instead of just using each other as masturbation bodies of just fucking. Sport fucking is literally what is happening.
The man would be using the woman. So
right.
As women have sex, they bond more and more because of oxytocin.
Correct.
But if men have no vasopressin before they have sex with somebody, this is going to sound awful, but it's just the truth. You're just better than their hand. And
right.
and that is...
What did you call it last night?
What did I call it last night?
Yeah, you called it something. It wasn't better than your hand. You referred to it. We were talking about this last night. You said something.
Oh, I said that men like exclusive vagina, not communal vagina.
No. You used something other than their hand. You said something, and I was like, "That's good." We have to talk about that, but it'll come back, I'm sure, in another podcast.
But so yeah, if men don't have a high vasopressin before you have sex with them, they're not going to fall in love. But you will fall in love, and that's just hormones. Unless you've had sex with so many men that your neuroreceptors don't even work correctly, then we've got a whole different problem. You know, like the girl that actually did sleep with 1,000 men in like 12 hours. She just broke the record. Like, that woman's a psychopath, and she's got so much shit wrong with her brain, won't go into it in this podcast. Be studied. But, you know, it's just, if you're getting into these situations as a woman, you know, I get that women have needs just like men, but it's not healthy physically, mentally, or on a soul level to be sharing your energy and your body, and this just proves it scientifically, but I'm going to go a little bit more into just like, there's nothing good that comes from it. You know, sure, you see these very, very few, and it will be because the woman's a masculine core and the man's a feminine core, that a hookup turns into a marriage and it actually lasts. If a man is a true masculine core and the woman is a true feminine core, a hookup will never turn into love. Even if she does like end up pregnant and they get married and this and that, it won't last because the foundation is literally built on sand. You cannot, there's no trust, there's nothing built. And once you have sex, friendship ends. And friendship is where you really get to know somebody's character. You know, dating for character is really how you make a relationship last. Because I'll say this a million times, so just get used to it. It is more important to like someone than to love somebody. You know, I love a lot of people that I do not like. Like, look at the majority of your family. It's like, I love them, but I don't like them as human beings. But like, the man that I end up with, I want to like first. And then fall in love with him, because I know that if I like him and I know that he's a good person in his core and he makes decisions based off of his masculine and being a respectable man and doing what is right versus doing what he wants, that he is going to be a good husband and a good father. He is a good man, and I can trust that in my soul. I can trust that in my heart, and that's what makes love last. You know, so many of the relationships that I've been in my past were so based off of, oh, well, this person, you know, it's all about my feelings and there's nothing about, like, my soul. And when you get the soul involved, you really just want somebody that you're like, even in the craziest of moments, I know that they do what is right, that they're a good-hearted human being. And that will keep a relationship together through thick and thin because you like them. And in the moments where you're like, you're driving me fucking insane, because it's going to happen in every relationship, you come back to, but I like them. And then the love will come back. But if you don't like them, and you're just based off of like oxytocin levels because you had sex too soon, your relationship will fail. And this is why relationships are failing so often, is that they're built off of fucking hormones and not making love.
Well, that's called not a relationship, that's called a situationship, and that's literally what is happening, because women are giving to men for free. There's no negotiation. Women, you have all sold out. I'm sorry. Like, if you're in this and you're a woman, you have sold out. You're a man. You are giving to him. You are mothering him with your vagina. Period. You can be mad about it. I don't care. because at the end of the day, it is 90 days and you're bonded to him, and now he is going to feel real guilty and he's going to feel horrible
But
feelings.
he'll just go find somebody else and start sleeping with them.
Right. And a lot of times what's happening is that men are rebounding, especially, and they're not being honest or whatever. They may have not have already processed feelings, or something is happening if they're just, going for this. And females, like, also, like, you're as a woman, you should receive first. First and foremost. Masculine should give, women should receive. And when you're stuck in this hookup culture, you're giving and he's receiving. And so you're a man and he's a woman. And this is flipped. And it's right back to what Megan was just saying, is that now you can't build a steady foundation on sand. It just quite literally will not work. And then that woman has to go through oxytocin detox. She has to go through the 90-day no contact. Her body suffers significantly more than a man's in the long run.
Well, I mean, it goes back to men can only fall in love when true masculine cores can only fall in love when they're giving, and true feminine cores can only fall in love when they're receiving. So it's also one of those things. It's not that I'm saying that you can't enjoy while you're dating. If you want to like be with somebody, stay the night, fool around, great, but his penis cannot go in your mouth, anus, or vagina, or you will bond to him,
That's
and
literally my
you're
favorite.
going to feel like shit when he moves on because you didn't allow him to give, so he couldn't fall in love, and you fell in love and are now sad and have to deal with everything Nicole just said. But just understand that, like, if you really are looking for a relationship to go the distance, it takes discipline and dedication. Trust me, I know that it's difficult to be very attracted to someone and to not just be like, well, let's just have sex. But you're literally doing yourself and men a disservice when you are not giving them time to fall in love with you, because men also work slower than women. Remember that when we go back to in previous podcasts, we talk about the male brain. And men either think or feel, and it takes them 2 to 3 months to really put like the plugs in place of like, oh wait, I like her, I want to be with her. They have to give up their independence to be with you, and we have to give up our independence to be with them. Like, spend the time to know that they're worth that. You're doing yourself a favor when you're, letting that courtship not just be about sex, but about friendship. And is this a person that I can spend time with? And if you want to have kids, you're building a foundation with a partner. This is not like, we're not monkeys. It's not like, let's just like fuck everything and
Oh my God,
we're just trying to like, we're not masturbating monkeys, but everybody's acting like we're masturbating monkeys of just like, I can't control myself. Like, dude, you really need to reassess. You're a sex addict if you can't control yourself. Like, you need to look at, especially feminine, you need to look at that, because the woman's body is such a precious thing, and you're sharing energy. And this goes back to our whole Kundalini podcast of like, sex is the biggest energy exchange known to man, and you just sharing it with anybody or having no discernment is a very dangerous game.
Well, and also, women out there that are in this, you're killing men. Like, giving sex for free, when men are giving like sex, like Megan's saying, it's actually depleting them of chi energy, and men need to keep their life force. We are fine. We bond faster, but we don't die. We don't die slowly from orgasms. Men die slowly from orgasms because the more they give out, the more they deplete their minerals, their body, everything. So hookup culture is actually very hard on men. In the long run, when it comes to like their ideally, when men have sex with cheap women, it will kill them.
Well, okay, so this goes into Kundalini work. We just opened a can of worms, but so men are negatively charged in their heart and positively charged in their penis. Women are negatively charged in their womb space and positively charged in their breasts. And so when a man doesn't have a heart, which is the woman that he falls in love with, he will die young. Men are men are bricks, women are oxygen. You can live without bricks, but you can't live without oxygen. So if a man doesn't have oxygen, he will die. So if he doesn't have a heart, he will die. So if a man doesn't have an anchor, which is any woman in his life, is going to be a mom, a sister, daughter, some kind of feminine energy anchoring him into the spiritual plane as material, he will die young. After 45, after he goes through andropause, his heart will give out. He'll have a Takotsubo cardiomyopathy and die.
Literally heartbroken.
Die of a broken heart. If he has a mom, a sister, niece, daughter, whatever, it will anchor him into the spiritual plane, but it's best to be a wife. That's why men live longer when they're married, because they have a heart, they have a pulse. So when we don't allow men to fall in love, we are actually killing men, and that's what Nicole's saying. And it takes it a step further with, like, if men are just coming all of the time, then we've got a bigger issue.
They're just giving their life force away.
It is life force, but it's extraordinary. Love is extraordinarily important to everybody. You know, women, we are oxygen. We don't need men to survive, but
They need us.
They need us. And when we allow them to be part of our lives and to serve the feminine the way that God, the universe, whatever intended, we're creating a sacred union or a sacred bond that works in both of our favors. And also for me, like, it feels better when I have a man in my life that I can turn to, because life is not easy. You know, and women are great, but there's just something about, like, having a man and, like, a hug from a man and that grounding presence. And when we really come back into our centered energy and we have the balanced masculine and feminine in us, and we're able to give and receive and know which energy we're in, we create such a beautiful life force energy that permeates into everything that is the universe. And, you know, we did a podcast a long time ago now, but it was talking about a Colombian tribe, and they were interviewing one of the shamans, and they said, like, what's wrong with today's world? And the shaman literally said, the feminine has forgotten who it is, and we can't have this imbalance in the masculine and feminine. It creates issues in everything. We have to remember that we're part of a mass consciousness, and we're part of a whole. And when we're not balanced, everything is out of balance, and we're really seeing that play out. You know, whether you want to call it a spiritual war or whatever, right? We're in something that we are partially responsible for. And when we don't have dedication, discipline, and love in our lives, that's affecting everything around us. And that's why we harp on this stuff so much. Situationships are not love, and they're not making the world a better place.
Well, and women, like, this is mainly directed to you because you guide men with your no. Like,
that's right.
Just try to date men.
Stop killing men.
Stop having sex with them to validate and stroke your own damn ego. Like, stop.
Get a vibrator.
Yeah, get a fucking vibrator, or, like, I don't know, get a cat. Like, get some, like, yeah, get a cat or a dog so you get, like, you know, some, like, external strokes,
yeah,
you know,
strokes
love.
are important.
But, like, get it together, because honestly, it's appalling. Like, some of the stories that we have heard from girlfriends where I'm like, you're bragging about this right now? This is disgusting. And, or they're just mothering men, multiple men at a time, because they're just using their vagina to mother them. I'm like, you're bonding to him, and in 90 days, you're going to be really upset. And that's science. Don't come crying to me after 90 days when you've bonded to this guy and he's like, ghosts you or doesn't talk to you anymore or tells you this isn't going to work out, because you didn't negotiate, because you didn't say no. Mm-hmm. So, you know, check yourself. Where are your morals? Where's your virtue at? Because it's something that feminine right now really needs to look at themselves and check in, because you are all acting like a whole bunch of hedonistic, wild female banshees. Just, I don't know. You're out of control.
You're acting like men because
yeah,
you're men.
You're out of men.
Just stop being men. So
stop being men. But
with that being said, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, all of the things, please comment, like,
tell
subscribe,
me how mad you are about this, and I'll send you the research.
It's nothing about shame. It's just like, you know, just become aware and understand what you're doing wrong so you can change it. That's it. We're not here to shame anybody. It's informative. I mean, gosh, I was so triggered by this because I used to be I'm a recovering feminist. You know, it's like, oh yeah, if women want to, you know,
fuck like men.
The stride of pride instead of the walk of shame. I almost fucking died. Like, even back then when I was totally feminist, I was like, what? Because I've never been a like, let's have sex with everything type of girl, but I thought that some girls were just like that, but that's wrong.
Anyway. It's true. So we challenge you to be virtuous and tell him no thank you. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like, share, comment. If you are listening to it on Apple or Spotify, please like the show, share the show. It helps us tremendously.
Yeah, share with your friends.
Yes. And until next time.
Bye.
Bye.